Hey y'all, I'm here. I am so sorry about me not doing a review yesterday or on Wednesday because I went to go get my second dose Wednesday, and Wednesday night it was already, I was like really tired, but yesterday it really kicked my ass. So like, but anyway, I'm good to go now. I feel better. I'm good. So let's get to it. Now, the first like 20 minutes of this reunion was, or part two, sorry, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion, season 11, part two. Um, the first top half, like the first 20 minutes of this freaking reunion, I'm so glad that I recorded because first of all, I don't got time for commercials, even though they don't really do a whole lot of commercials. But second of all, I had to pause it because I was trying to catch every freaking question that Andy was asking. Andy was doing this shit like it was like rapid fire. It was a lot. So let's start because I have a lot of notes. Well, not really. I got decent ones, but let's get to it. So again, we start off where we left off last week, which is with ERIKA, and Andy asking ERIKA like, I think ERIKA said something to the effect of she told Tom like, oh, if you want to be with somebody else, then like you should just go ahead and divorce me. And then Andy said, what did he say? And she was like, he said nothing. Then he asked her, why did you talk about like how good your marriage was, and you always put on a good front. And ERIKA said, well, in a marriage you have good times and bad times. And I don't understand like why this in particular part keeps getting brought up, like, oh my gosh, you made it seem like it was such a good marriage. I said this before and I'm gonna say it again. Anybody who's in an actual relationship or marriage, are you gonna go around to the world telling everybody how miserable your fucking marriage is, especially if you're still in your marriage and you don't really plan on leaving your marriage? What is the point of going around and telling everybody your business and telling them, oh my gosh, Tom just treats me like shit, I can't stand up. Like, that's not how it works. So I don't even like, out of everything that's been said throughout the season, that's the main thing that to me makes no sense. Because every time that you and your husband get into it, or y'all going through a patch in your marriage, do you broadcast to the whole world on national TV that, hey, I hate this man and I want to get a divorce? Is that what you do every time? No, you don't. So I don't understand. I've never understood that question this season. It's just a stupid question. Everybody's going to protect their marriage, period. Nobody's going to get on TV and try to make their marriage look bad. Unless you're like on Love and Hip Hop, like Marriage Boot Camp or some shit. Anyway. Then Andy asked, like, why didn't you leave? And ERIKA said, well, where was I going? And then Andy said, well, I know how much you make on this show. Like, you make a lot of money. So why didn't you just take that money? And she said that she gave every check that she had to him, which was surprising to a lot of people. Now, do I believe that? I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know because, and the reason I'm saying that is because I personally know multiple, and I'm not saying, oh, here, I'm talking about in my own life. I know multiple women who are the main breadwinner in their relationship and they hand their entire check over to their man. And the crazy part about the ERIKA situation is Tom's actually the breadwinner. So it's not that hard for me to believe when I personally know more than 2 to 3 women who are the breadwinner in their own household, but gives their entire check away to their husband. And they just keep going about their day. You know what I'm saying? So it's not super unbelievable. You would think, that maybe she would have put something away, but I'm gonna be real. A lot of people, it's all I'm gonna say is, I don't know, but I will say that it's not impossible for me to believe because I have seen that happen before. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. Andy then says, well, you stayed for the money or whatever. And ERIKA said, no, I didn't stay for the money because I didn't have access to the money. Now, according to ERIKA, and she has said this before, that Tom was only giving her credit cards. Now, the reason why I say she might be telling the truth about her just giving Tom's her checks is because, Andy, to you, that's a lot of money, right? Like, to Andy, the amount that he might pay her, and to the average person, it might be a lot of money. But to somebody like Tom, it might not be a whole lot. And maybe the way that he rationalizes it is, well, I'm already giving you all of this money anyway. So at the bare minimum, you need to give me that check. And it also would make sense if Tom was actually going broke these past couple of years, or the past however many years, if he actually really didn't have any money, the way that it's panning out to be, and he was actually stealing from victims and stuff like that, it's not to me beyond reasonable that he would be like, oh, well, let me just take this money from ERIKA too, because ERIKA's working. So let me just take this money and, put it into my account so I can continuously, provide whatever it is that I'm providing without her knowing that it's maybe some of her money paying for it. So again, not super unbelievable. But she said she didn't have actual access to the money. She just was given credit cards. And I could believe that she was given credit cards and just said, hey, run it the fuck up. The limit is whatever the case may be, run it the fuck up. Did you leave? Andy asked her, did you believe because you felt like you was going down, like with everything that was going on? Now she said no, it was more so that he was going down. But in all reality, she should have just answered that question yes, because that was another point of contention about her divorce, is a lot of people felt like, well, number one, girl, you're really only leaving him because everything is now crumbling. And so you want to hurry up and get the fuck out of Dodge, which who could fucking blame her? Would you not want to get the fuck out of there, especially if you really had nothing to do with it? And then also she said that in the past, Tom has been sued God knows how many times. And I could imagine, he's a lawyer, so I'm pretty sure he has been sued a lot of times. She said, but normally I never worried about it because normally I'm not included in his lawsuits. And then she said even when she is, a lot of times it's already taken care of. So she brought up a lawsuit that Andy had asked about on Denise's first reunion, I think, which was 2019, I think. And she so I guess she was using that for example to say that's an example of me being technically on a lawsuit, but nothing happened with that just kind of got thrown away. So yeah, so I guess that's kind of what she saw. She said that once she saw him going down and everything around him going down, then she just kind of realized, I guess, and also because she wasn't really being kept in the loop, that she just felt like it was being too much. She also said that she couldn't access that part of his business, talking about the legal part and the law firm. That is absolutely true. Legally, that's absolutely true. ERIKA could be as married as she wants to, because everybody kept saying, well, you're married to him. You're married to him. So shouldn't you have half? Okay, but what you have half for, first of all, you're not obligated to half of anything. You still have to go to court. That's something I think that a lot of people don't realize. Yes, even if you don't have a prenup, your chances of getting half is a lot greater, but it's not guaranteed, because if it was guaranteed, there would be no point of divorce court. There'd be absolutely no point if it was just this simple of sign on a dotted line, you get half, she get half. It don't work like that. Tom could have easily found a way to contest whatever it is that she wanted. He could have contested half of everything that she wanted. It wouldn't have been so easy as, oh, well, I was his wife and we've been married for X amount of years, so let me just get half. It's not that easy a lot of times. And especially if I was divorcing a lawyer, baby, I would almost expect that I'm not getting shit, prenup or not, if he's a good lawyer, just saying. But she said that she didn't have access to the legal side of his business, so she didn't really know what the hell was going on over there. And like I said, I stand by this. I said it from the beginning. I do not believe that ERIKA knew that this man was stealing money from these people. I stand on that. Now, do I believe that she left him and got her shit when she seen shit really hitting the fan? Absolutely. And she kind of admitted to that on this reunion. So yeah. Another problem I had with Andy is, Andy, I understand that you're trying to get the tea and stuff like that, but are you trying to send Erika Jayne to jail? I know a lot of people are, but Andy was annoying me. And again, maybe this is just because of my looking and studying law and all this stuff, but it bothers me so much that why on national TV would you ask and expect somebody to answer the question of, well, did you talk to your lawyers about it? And if you did, and once you talked to them, what did they say? ERIKA said, I didn't talk to his lawyers. I got my own lawyers, and I can't sit up here and tell you when I got counsel and what conversation that we have. Andy, are you dumb? That's attorney-client privilege. It doesn't work. That, I don't know why, but that small thing irked me. Why are you trying to get this woman to incriminate herself on national TV? Nobody, I don't give a fuck what you did. Nobody should be talking on national TV about what them and their lawyers talked about with a pending fucking lawsuit. Are you stupid, Andy? What the fuck? That, I don't know why, but that bothered me so fucking much. Anyway, the next question was, why did you lie to Garcelle about the cheating accusation? And ERIKA was real, and she was like, because it's who it was. and saying to Garcelle, she was like, but that's not like to be taken personal, because it was a whole lot of people that I didn't tell the truth to about. And Garcelle didn't get mad. She was like, okay, all right, got it. Then they asked her, I think she said she knew about like 3 of his mistresses, and how one of them she caught like on his flip phone, because obviously Tom would have a flip phone. That makes sense to me. And like she sent picture of her boobs or some shit like that, and she went back. Anyway, let's keep on. That's commercial break. All right, cool. Then we come back and Andy asks Kyle about, like, you said that you had heard rumors and stuff. Kyle could not even answer that question. She was just like, I mean. But long story short, Kyle said that there's rumors that you hear like throughout Beverly Hills about everybody. So you can't go around believing everything that you hear, which I would assume there's a whole bunch of rumors that always go on over there. Then Andy asked Erika, why did she put up on Instagram about the whole thing with the mistress? And she said she was angry. I do believe that she was angry, but I also believe that she was trying to divert attention to a degree from off of like her. But again, she did kind of admit this, because she said that she was tired of people going around and saying that, you know, she left him because she was trying to hide assets and stuff like that. And her putting that out there was saying, no, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that he was cheating on me. I don't believe that all the way. I believe that it was a combination of both. I think you were perfectly fine with Tom cheating and doing whatever it is that he did. Because what I do believe is that Erika and Tom had an arrangement. And I believe that Erika was absolutely positively fine with Tom messing around, as long as that shit didn't come back to her or wasn't done publicly or whatever. But once she found out with this whole case and this whole lawsuit and how she was being somewhat included in it, she used those 2 excuses to pretty much not be with the man anymore. But I'm sorry, Erika, do not believe you of, oh, I left him because of the woman. I don't believe that, because I believe Tom been cheating, been having his whole thing with other women for years. And I think you knew, and I think you stayed. We'll get to the whole thing about staying for the money. We'll get there, because I don't even know if she said that or not, but I believe that you absolutely stayed for the money. That's just that on that. Anyway, when she was talking about the mistress and how upset she was, Garcelle was on the side, obviously nodding like, I understand, because we all know Garcelle was cheated on too for 5 years with her husband. Then there was like a picture that came up, and Andy said that there was a picture, I guess, online of like all of the stuff that was auctioned off at Tom's law firm and within his office. And one of the things that was taken a picture of and auctioned off, why are y'all auctioning off bra and the panty set? Don't know, but they was auctioning off like this bra and panty set, and they was like, well, you know, did you know about that? Because apparently it was in his drawer. She was like, no, but I know it wasn't mine. Then Andy asked, how did you have your own money? She said she can't say. That makes sense, that legally she can't talk about that right now, because that is at the heart of her involvement. Is, did you, Erika, consciously and knowingly take money from Tom, knowing damn well where that money came from? And if not, how did you make your own money? Because of the whole $20 million being put into her account, that's at the heart of it. So I understand why she can't talk about that. Then he talks about like this picture that like people had seen of Erika getting on a plane or whatever. And then he was like, oh, did you pay for that plane? Because everybody was talking about the victim, and she was like, no, I didn't pay for the plane. Somebody else paid for the plane that I knew. I went on a vacation with them. How is Erika gonna pay for the plane when she's broke? This is my whole thing about this whole thing with Erika. And again, this is not for me to take up on her, but a lot of the audience, y'all being flip-floppy with it. You can't, she is broke. I want y'all to understand, Erika is broke. Not maybe in my sense of broke or the every single everyday person's version of broke, but Erika is broke. The same way Tom has no money. That bitch can't afford to get a plane even if she wants to. Look at her house. That bitch can't afford no fucking plane. The fuck? She broke as hell. So anyway, then they talked about, I'm so glad we had this conversation, because this is another thing too. I was so tired of being brought up. Like, a lot of valid points have been brought up about this whole Erika and Tom situation, but the 2 that's not valid is the, why did you act like you had a good marriage? And number 2, how could one moment Tom be so engaging and everything, and then the next moment, oh, apparently he can't remember anything. And I love how they talked about dementia and how it's very much so. ERIKA said he tells the same stories. Yes, he can sit down and tell you a story and be very engaging, but it's the same stories that he has kept telling everybody for years. And even Dorit jumped in and said, no, that's true, because he wasn't telling us stories about like recently. He was telling us stories from way back, and those are the things that he was doing. And as somebody whose family, especially a lot of my family that's older, dealt with, I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people, especially the women in my family, have dealt with Alzheimer's as they gotten older and stuff, and that's very much so true. One day, hell, fuck Alzheimer's. When my grandmother had COVID, my grandmother, she got her shot and everything, but she ended up getting COVID like maybe 2 months ago. And all the way up until, I will say, maybe 3 weeks ago, my grandma had something that they call brain fog after COVID. Sometimes after COVID, especially for people that are older, they have something that's called brain fog. And that pretty much means exactly what it sounds like. You don't really know exactly what's going on. Sometimes you know what day it is. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you know who you're talking to. Sometimes you don't. So for about 3 weeks, even after she was clear from having COVID, those 3 weeks, Monday, I will call her. She know exactly who I am. She know exactly what the fuck we're talking about. Tuesday, I could call her. She think it's 2001. Wednesday, I could call her. She remembers something that I told her 2 years ago. Thursday, I'll call her. She talking about my little sister who is now 21, talking about her like she's 5. So, and that's brain fog. I'm sorry to keep like spitting, sorry. That's brain fog from COVID. So people who have dementia, early signs of dementia and stuff, and Alzheimer's, yes, there are point in times where they can be perfectly fine and hold a conversation like there's no tomorrow. But that doesn't last for very long. So yeah, so that's that on that. And I didn't see that picture of Tom. Like, I haven't really seen Tom because I don't pay attention to him. But that picture that they showed of him, I said, oh, he looked bad. Like, real fucking bad. Anyway, ERIKA then talks about how she did her best by Tom, and she says, now I told y'all, I still don't believe this whole fucking story about the car flipping off the cliff and going into the Looney Tunes realm and meeting Michael Jordan and LeBron James. I don't believe this story, but she said that she was the one who found him after the car accident. She's the one who took him to the hospital. When it got to the hospital, they said that they wanted to put him under anesthesia, but she didn't want to put him under anesthesia because he had, like, I guess a brain like damage or whatever, and he was older and already dealing with dementia. So she called one of his other doctors and she like sent him a picture of like what was wrong with him, and the doctor said no, don't put him under anesthesia. So she made that decision to not do it. Now some people could be like, well, why the fuck would you do that? Like, if an actual doctor is telling you, whatever, her life, her decision, it is what it is, let's move the hell on. Then Andy asked her, knowing what you know now, would you do it again and like marry him? And she said, honestly, I don't even really know who I was married to, so I don't know. Then Andy asked, like, what about the victims and stuff like that? And she says she hopes that it's not true. So that's that on that. And thank Cal came through with the come through, because on one of my reviews, I said this when people were trying to be like, oh, well, how could you not know about this, ERIKA, and how could you not know about that? Cal made a great point. Cal said Sutton owned a whole baseball team and didn't know it. Thank you, Cal, because I definitely brought that up in one of my videos when I was talking about how Sutton said that she didn't believe that ERIKA didn't know certain things. And I'm like, how is that possible when you're the same person that sat in ERIKA's face and said that through forensic, because you was trying to help her out, and literally said through forensic you found out that you owned the baseball team. So how is it that, like I said in that video, how is it that it's believable that you didn't know that, but it's not believable that she didn't know that this man wasn't taking all these people's fucking money? Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle, for bringing up my point. Kyle been watching my videos, I could tell. And I have here in my notes, after that, ERIKA goes on this whole little long diatribe. And I got in my notes, that whole portion was ERIKA being like, I'm fighting for my life, man. Shout out to R. Kelly. Not shout out to R. Kelly, but y'all know that whole R. Kelly meme where he's like, I'm fighting for my life. That was ERIKA. Just put that whole meme right there. Yeah. So that's that on that. That's the ERIKA portion. We get to Dorit. These next two segments proved my point when I said that Dorit nor Rinna has a fucking storyline, so they both use Garcelle to get a storyline. Like, just saying, okay? Just saying. And Garcelle was just at the fucking at the Marvel premiere or whatever, because I didn't even realize that, because I've watched all of the Marvel movies in order except the Spider-Man ones, because the Spider-Man ones is not on Disney Plus, and I'm like very, 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 very much so like a 90s baby. So Tobey Maguire is my Spider-Man, so I just always like refuse to watch any other Spider-Man, but I'm gonna do it because I didn't realize that Garcelle was in Marvel. She's in the Marvel universe, but y'all are talking about her wanting to be relevant. Dorit and Rinna, y'all segments was all of 2 to 3 minutes, but y'all want to say that she's trying to be relevant. We spent an entire episode, an whole hour on Garcelle, and like 5 minutes on y'all, but she's the one that's trying to be relevant. I will never let that go. Maybe she's trying to be relevant. Girl, bye. So anyway, we talk about how Dorit talked too much. She did. And then we talk about the whole comment about the brown people and stuff. And she said that it was a poor choice of words and whatever. Did she get a nose job? No. You see how fast that was over? 2 minutes. Less than that. Moving on. Then we have Rinna. And Rinna's entire section was not about her. It was about her daughter dating Scott Disick. That's all it was about. Which again proves my point when I said Rinna does not have a storyline. And I can't even remember. Maybe I think it was somebody else or ERIKA De Niro who said that. Shout out to ERIKA De Niro. Go watch her YouTube. She's fire. I think she said this a while ago. She was like, did Rinna ever really have a storyline? And now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think she ever really did. But specifically these last 2 or 3 seasons, Rinna has had she has used her children for storylines. And I don't like when housewives do that, because the show, yes, obviously you're a housewife, so we need to know some things about your kids, but I don't like when the housewives use their children as an entire storyline, because they are not on this show. You are. Not them. So the most I want to see the kids, I want to see y'all kids the way I see Kyle kids, which is I see them interact. We might have a really, 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 really small storyline. Not even a storyline like, okay, like this season storyline was really, really quick as far as Kyle kids. Like her daughter was having a hard time with the fact that her oldest daughter had moved out. We've seen that here and there, dealt with that here and there. But Rinna last season used her other daughter and her eating disorder as a storyline. And then this season, she just used her daughter dating Scott Disick as the storyline, because that's all that was asked. Nothing else was asked about her. If she doing her little QVC line, nothing was asked about her, because Rinna and Dorit have nothing going on. They don't have a storyline, and I want everybody to remember that next time they try to come for anybody else. Let me see. Yeah, that was pretty much in the episode. Then we get to Kyle and Kathy, and you know that I'm not gonna hold y'all. I cried because when Kathy started crying, when they asked her, like, in the confessional, like, what's like your biggest regret about not talking to Kyle for this long? And she was like, we just wasted 10 years. And she just started crying. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I cried just a little bit. I did. And I never really thought about this from Kathy's perspective, but outside of now, I always thought that Kathy's main problem was that Kyle did that show. I don't know what it's called again, but that show that was based on a family, and she didn't necessarily like the way that like her mom and everybody else was being portrayed. But Kathy talked about how she really just felt some type of way of seeing, and I'm the oldest, so I understood where she was coming from. She was like, I'm the oldest, so seeing my sisters on TV like this fighting, and then they flash back to that infamous fight with Kim and Kyle in a limo and stuff like that, and just all of the other ways that she's seen them fight. She said that shit, it just didn't sit well with her, and I could understand that wholeheartedly. Like, I'm the oldest and y'all are my sisters, and she was like, I always try to keep in the top of my head what would my mom think. My mom would not be okay with it. She said, but as time went on, I realized that maybe this like can help people who are in the same thing. So yeah, that was just that. And Kathy misses her mom real badly. And then it went off. But y'all get in the comments and y'all tell me what y'all tell me what y'all think. Andy was rapid fire with the question. He was on ERIKA's ass this night. On her ass. Rightfully so though. But I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm annoyed that this is 4 parts, but I've been annoyed that it was 4 parts. Because when I heard it was 4 parts, I'm like, why, bitch? Because to be quite honest, like, We could have did part 1, which is Garcelle and them. We could have did part 2. We could have just literally knocked Erika's. I'm trying to figure out what are the next 3 sections gonna be about, because honestly, we can wrap this shit up next week. We can do whatever happened with Crystal and Sutton, do whatever happened with Sutton and Erika, and knock Erika out the fucking way, and we can be done. Like, we can do those 3 things and wipe our hands. Why are we having a whole 4th like part? I don't understand that. I'm lost on why we're having 4 parts. But we shall see. Y'all get in the comments. Tell me what y'all think. I'm out. Bye.